Hi, I'm Vanessa Shaw, and this is the Horror Squad podcast.
Hello, welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast. This is episode number 299. Tonight, we're talking about 2023's Exorcist. Believe we're currently in theaters. Joe is a little bit late, but we have myself, Todd, and Steve. Steve, I know you have a lot to talk about.
I do have a lot to talk about. It's that time of year for us. We're just super busy here at the Horror Squad podcast. And first thing I'm going to mention is we have not one, but two interviews at the end of this episode. Thank you to everyone who listened to our interview last week with Thora Birch, Vanessa Shaw, Omri Katz, and Jason Marsden. It was a great interview, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. This week, we have the writer and director of a new film that's coming out in theaters and I believe on demand as well on Friday, October 19th. And that is Scott Slone, who is promoting the movie Malibu Horror Story. I'm going to talk about it a little bit on What Watched, and if Joe is there as well, he's going to talk about it because he was also on the interview. So you'll get to hear my thoughts on that movie. But like I said, great interview. Definitely a horror fan, so it was interesting to hear about his process. And our other interview is a duo. It is Ms. Diamond Wigfall and Buster Pants, who are a drag queen and a drag king. They are promoting a new show that they're doing based off The Shining. It's a shadow cast, kind of like what they do with Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Ah.
And they're also going to host our event with, the cast of that Halloween movie that we can't talk about with Thora Birch, Omri Katz, Vanessa Shaw, and Jason Marsden.
Hocus Schmocus.
That's right. It rhymes like that. Yeah.
Blockus Clockus. Something like that.
Yeah. So those are the two interviews. And speaking of the events, so thank you to everyone who showed up to our last event, which was over the last weekend with Ari Lehman. I know we did, Joe did at least the Q&A with that. So thank you to everyone who showed up. And the next event is going to be the event I just talked about. It's Just a Bunch of Halloween, which is on October 20th and 21st. On the 20th, you have a party at Bit Bar where you get to mingle with the cast all night. You get some great shows. You get arcade tokens, a little bit of food, non-alcoholic drinks, although you can buy alcoholic drinks, but non-alcoholic drinks are provided. With the ticket also includes a shot with the four actors, a professional shot with the four actors. So that alone, is worth like $200. So definitely pick up tickets. It's just a bunch of Halloween.com, and you're able to do that. And on the Saturday, on the 21st, we are at the Salem Commons, and you're able to pick up autographs or selfies or a group shot with any or all of those actors we mentioned. All the tickets for that are also on the same website. It's at justabatchhalloween.com. So definitely worth your while. It's the first time that they're all together in Salem, Massachusetts since 30 years ago when they did the movie. So pretty incredible event there. Definitely check it out. I will be there as well. Joe obviously will be there. So that's should be fun to meet all of you guys. And then finally, we have another event on Saturday, October 28th. It's a signing, a full costume photo op, and a Q&A followed by a showing of Freddy vs. Jason. That's with Douglas Tate, who played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason for the final scene where Jason's coming out of the water with the head of Freddy Krueger. He has that costume that he's going to do for the photo op with a mold from the original mold from the movie of Freddy's head. So you can do all that. The signing is going to be at Silver Moon Comics, and the photo op as well. Then the movie is going to be at Cinema Salem. And we also have an interview with Douglas Tate on next week's episode. Absolutely great interview. He's got some great stories, how he almost became both Michael and Jason and just lost out on it the last second, but then still becoming like both of them in different forms. So great guy, great interview. So check all of that out. Whew, that was a mouthful. A lot going on in October. Yeah. How was your last week? I know you weren't there last week. You feeling better? Did you do anything fun?
No, I came down with the stomach flu, so I was out for a little bit. That thing really kicks your butt no pun intended, coming out both ends and everything. But I guess I can give my thoughts on Saw X.
Yeah, well, we can do
Um,
watch as well. Just I don't know if it's one of them. If you had other ones, but it could lead
yeah,
into
I have
that.
other ones.
Okay, well,
Yeah, Saw X. I don't know, man. It was like it was fine, but it wasn't anything groundbreaking. It wasn't terrible. It was like right in the lower end of the franchise for me. I felt that a lot of stuff like seemed a little bit forced, and I did like that they're trying to humanize John a little bit more, but I just wish that was sped up a little bit. Like it was too focused in the beginning, and then it felt like the ending, in my opinion, was a little bit rushed. Like I thought we could have fleshed it out a little bit better because it was missing a little bit of Saw, like meaning like trap, investigation, trap, and it seemed like all the traps at the end were just like back to back to back, which didn't really flow well in my opinion. And then I just didn't like the whole final like trap that they did on the main characters because I expect a better twist in Saw, and I thought that one was just televised way too far out. Because like once you knew that character, the younger character was coming into play, you're like, oh, well, there's no fucking way they're gonna do this. They're gonna have to spin it on somebody, and it was fortunate that that was kind of an easy one to catch. But Hoffman, pretty cool. Amanda, even though her wig was the worst wig I've ever seen, was still pretty cool to see her. And I like John Kramer, man. He's 80, what, 81, 82, still pumping these
yeah,
out. And I don't know how many more he has in him, but if he's going to be in the other ones, fuck it, let's do it.
yeah. He makes Saw really like without his character, it's just not the same. We saw it with Spiral. It just doesn't feel the same, you know. So it was great to see him.
Yep.
And top form for someone who's like 82. It's pretty
Oh,
crazy
yeah,
just
great shape.
how good he looks and how he still really got it. A great actor. And so hopefully we'll
Yep.
see more of that. So I have three of them this week because Joe was supposed to take one, but since I have to talk about the movie later, I'll try to do it last in case he does show up for it. So the first one I did watch is a 2023 film. I watched this one on Amazon Prime, and it's called Totally Killer. So this is the story of a killer, and he kills women on their sweet 16 by stabbing them 16 times, and kind of is a serial killer in this town. And then years later, the killer strikes again and kills the main character's mom, still stabbing her 16 times. They're not really sure why the killer is back, but she has a friend who has a time machine, of course, very convenient. And she goes back in time to 1987 or 88, I forget which of the two, to stop the killer. And that's basically the story. It's kind of like a mix of Back to the Future with like Scream and a little bit like Happy Death Day thrown into it. It's a decent film. If you've seen movies like this, like Happy Death Day, Freaky, kind of like horror comedy that doesn't push too far in the horror, but also not too far in the comedy. It's kind of like right in the middle. It was an enjoyable film. I like the references of she makes a lot of like observational references about how the 80s are different than 2023. Like things that used to fly in the 80s definitely don't fly in 2023. And I really enjoyed those jokes. Outside of those jokes, they weren't as funny. Some of them were just like kind of forced. And I didn't love that. It's like not the goriest film. It's really kind of Halloween party type film. It's not something that people should take too seriously, but I still had a fun time watching it overall. I gave 3.5 stars out of 5. So that's Totally Killer over on Amazon Prime.
Cool. All right, my first one is Flesh Eater from 1988, and this one is written, directed, and starring Mr. William Heinzman, who you'll recognize as the first zombie in Night of the Living Dead, and he went on to direct this film and star it and stuff like that. And I'll get the creepy shit out of the way first. And this guy is no spring chicken in this movie. He's an elderly gentleman, and he plays a lead zombie. And it's the nudity in this film, which I always, everyone wants to see nudity in horror movies. It's kind of weird because the only ones that get nude are female victims that this gentleman attacks. So keep in mind he wrote, directed, starred in it. And not only like, a shirt coming off or something like that, but like grabbing the nude breast and, biting near him and stuff like that. And I was just like, damn, have we always been creepy as dudes or am I just seeing it better? But that stuff aside, it's really fun, man. I love low budget zombie horror movies. I always have, always will. And this one has a setup where some younger, I guess, college age kids or whatever take a hayride out to this farm where they're going to spend like Halloween partying, drinking, stuff like that on this farmer's land. Meanwhile, a farmer, he's like he's pulling out like a stump or something for no fucking reason in the middle of the woods. Let's pull out this random stump. It's not bothering anybody, but he does. And then he finds a buried zombie, who's our title zombie there, and he attacks at the kids and everything. And then you would think it would end there, but what I like about it is that it's not just regulated to the farm area. It actually grows and it goes to the town and it starts affecting other people. And I really liked it because it was they were taking a shot with a lower budget, and I appreciated it. I mean, you're gonna go in there with some bad acting with these horror movies. The under budgeted ones always have that, but it adds to the charm. What I really appreciated about this was what they're able to pull off. We had solid headshots, and I was thinking when I saw these, I'm like, man, I wish Night of the Living Dead 1990 had some of the headshots that were cut out because these were freaking pretty damn cool. Some solid bites, some solid zombie action. Zombies look pretty cool, and I appreciate it for what it was. So that's Tubi. Sorry, Flesh Eater over on Tubi, and I gave it a 3 out of 5.
I never thought that the people from Night of the Living Dead had done much after Night of the Living Dead. I always thought that most of the actors were just people in Pittsburgh that George knew, so
Yeah,
it's cool that some of
yeah,
them ended up doing some horror
yep,
after. So, yeah.
yeah. He did this and something else called The Majorettes, which I have yet to see, but it's also on Tubi.
Hmm, cool. Definitely check it out. My next one is another 2023 film. I watched this one on VOD, and it's called Little Bone Lodge. So this is a film from the UK. It's basically the story of two thieves, and they stole a lot of money, and they crashed like during their getaway. And it's like two brothers, and one of them is in worse shape than the other, and the brother kind of brings his other brother to this house to get some help. The house has a mother, a young daughter, and the father, but the father's kind of like an invalid. He's like in a wheelchair. He doesn't like speak. He's just kind of like there, he's not like fully there, but he's drugged up, so he's not in a bed or anything, but he is in a wheelchair and doesn't do much. So it starts off pretty innocently enough. It's the family taking care of these two criminals, and you kind of know that something's going to go down. I mean, obviously you're watching a horror film, and sure enough, the criminals realize that they forgot the money at the car, and they try to force the family to kind of go get that money while keeping the little girl and the brother at the house. And then a bunch of stuff happens, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it starts a series of events that has so many twisted turns that you don't know what the hell's going to happen next, because it's just constantly twisting and turning the story. The family is not what they expected. The father's deal has a whole thing. The mother has a whole thing. It's really a crazy movie. I don't think it's like an amazing movie or anything. I don't think it's going to make my top 10, but it's one that's really interesting that I don't hear anyone talk about. It's an interesting story. If you're along for the ride, and just the stuff that happens is so random and so like it just constantly changes course, that I would recommend it if you can find it. So I gave it 3.5 stars out of 5 on Letterboxd. That's Little Bone Lodge. Right now, I think it's only on VOD, but if ever it comes on streaming, I would recommend checking it out.
It's funny because Little Bone Lodge is also the code name me and my wife have for the bedroom.
Nice.
My next one is 1976 Massacre at Central High, and I want people to watch this movie. It's over on Tubi, and I don't want to spoil it too much because I think it's a really interesting, smartly written film, and it has zero right to be, and I don't think it was intended to be such. But it's about high school, and a new high school student comes to the new school, and he knows a guy there, and it's unknown why he transfers schools, but he does. And he goes to his friend that he made previously, and the friend's like, hey man, like, me and my friends, we're the kings of the school, we fucking run it, just fall in line and hang out with us and you'd be cool. Unfortunately for this group, the new kid doesn't like being a bully because he figures out that like these guys are the kings of the school because they bully everyone relentlessly. I'm not talking about like, giving wedgies and slapping the books down, things like that, which they do, but attempted rape, assault, vehicular assault, things like that, almost killing people. It's like obviously stuff that goes way too far. And I hate bullies naturally. And this just like takes it to another level. So he's not cool with it. He's like, dude, why the fuck do all of us, why do you guys take this stuff? He's like, well, what are we going to do? Stand to the bullies? And that's exactly what this guy does. His friend, though, meanwhile, is like, hey, man, like, come on, stop rocking the boat. We haven't made here. He's like, dude, you used to be cool, but you're just a fuckhead. Like, I'm not in your group anymore either. So his friend group tells the guy, like, hey, if the new kid doesn't get along, we're going to fuck him up too. And he doesn't care. So he starts standing up for the bullied. He starts helping them out, making friends, making alliances, things like that, standing up to them until the bullies catch wind of it, and they end up kind of breaking his leg and giving him a severe limp in the process. So now he's like, fuck it, gloves off, and he decides to take the traditional slasher route and start killing them in ways that makes it look like it's an accident. Where it gets into like the smarter writing is, I don't know, it the message is a little bit convoluted here. And the way I mean that is that bullies are wrong, right? And these guys are fucking heinous. But as soon as they take their foot off the throats of these bullied people, those people rise up to be bullies themselves. And the message in the movie is like, we were heavy-handed because everyone needs to have control over them, or they turn into monsters themselves. I don't know if it was intended by the filmmakers, honestly, because there's a lot of low budget stuff in here. The acting is fucking questionable at times, but that's the message I got from it. And if it's how it was written, cool. If it was a happy accident, that was awesome too. Kills are awesome. The plot is cool. The ending, a little dramatic, but I still liked it. And that's the Massacre on Central High. I gave it a 4 out of 5 over on Tubi.
Very cool. All right, so my last one this week is a 2023 film that comes out on October 19th. It's the one that we have the interview with the writer and director Scott Slone in at the end of this episode, and it's called Malibu Horror Story. So this is a found footage film. It starts off kind of like a true crime documentary where these 3 college students, they go into the desert and they find this cave, and they're kind of filming this whole process. And all 3 of them disappear in this cave, never to be found again. They kind of explain how that happened, how they found the footage. They show a little bit of the footage and stuff like that. Story takes place years later, and this group of college students want to make a documentary about that event. So they bring a crew to that same cave and try to figure out the mystery of what exactly happened at that site. So they end up like showing kind of the full footage of what happened to those 3 teenagers in that cave, as much footage as they have, and then the stuff starts happening to the documentary crew kind of the same way it happened to those 3 college students. I don't want to say too much more than that, but it's basically a found footage film of people investigating murders that happen in this cave. So I think that this is an interesting film. It's really got that true crime feel. Usually sometimes in some of these movies, they don't capture the true crime feel. It feels like it's fake. But this one felt like I was actually watching a documentary, and at times I felt like it was a documentary. That's how good that was. And once we finally get to kind of the horror part of this, because it does take quite a bit of time to get to the horror part, they do a lot of like telegraphing and explaining of what the story is before they get to that. It's actually pretty good. The scares are solid. The creature design, I won't say what the creatures are, but the creature design is actually really good. Better than I would expect for kind of an indie film like this. And I enjoyed a lot of it. I will say that the second half of the film isn't as fun as the first half. It does get a little like tiresome, because with found footage films, you get a lot of people just going into the cave, just talking. They put like this infrared camera on a lot that you're like, okay, they've used this trick so many times now and nothing's happening with it. It's not like they used it once or twice and something happened. So that was kind of annoying. But I still think if you like found footage films, it's definitely a worthy watch. So I personally gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. I haven't ranked it on Letterboxd yet because I can't, but once I can, I will give it that. And Joe has joined us, and I know he watched this as well because he was on the interview. I gave the synopsis and everything. So what did you think of Malibu Horror Story?
Yes, and hello, everyone. Steve, Todd, always a pleasure to see you. And our beautiful listeners, of course, out there. Malibu Horror Story. Yeah, overall, I thought it was pretty decent. There's definitely some issues here. It's definitely low budget and whatnot. But I thought it was like, a decent, like one-time watch. I don't think it's anything like that I would probably revisit. But I think if you're into found footage, it's pretty solid. It starts off, I really love like mockumentary style type movies. So I thought that was like pretty cool. It reminded me of, I said this to Steve, it reminded me of the Outwaters, but in a good way, a much better way. Cause I hated the Outwaters, but I thought this was like a much better version of that style movie. So yeah, I really liked where they ended up going with it at the end. I thought it was like a really interesting sort of approach that they did that I haven't seen too often. So yeah, I dug it. And the fact, like, you'll hear it in the interview, but the fact that it took them 10 years to make, I thought was really, really interesting. And just the process of, how indie filmmakers kind of, have the struggle really of making a movie and stuff like that. So which you'll hear in the interview. So that's good tease for the interview. But overall, yeah, I thought it was pretty solid. I'll also give it a 3 out of 5. I thought it was pretty enjoyable.
10 years is a big gap. Was that 10 years of filming? Like they had to try to maintain continuity over 10 years?
Basically, yeah. So like the early parts of the movie was sort of the young kids, and then once you watch the movie, you'll understand it. But the kids that go missing was he filmed about 10 years ago, and then everything else with the crew kind of going back, he filmed recently.
Interesting. Do you have any other what watched for this week?
I do. I have one actually, because the embargo is off as of this recording. So I watched The Bell Keeper, which you can, I'm assuming, get on VOD as of today. This one stars Randy Couture, of all people, actually. Also, it stars, oh man, I can't remember his name, but we actually interviewed him, Steve, for Slapface, the older brother.
Oh,
I believe,
I remember the movie. I don't remember the names of the actors. Yeah.
So we actually interviewed the guy, but it stars Randy Couture and him. And basically what the movie is about, it is basically it's like an urban legend that if you go to this summer camp that's abandoned and you ring the bell keeper will come and sort of kill you. So it's sort of shot once again, sort of mockumentary style, like found footage style, but it goes away from that as well. It's shot both ways. But yeah, so what happens is the bell keeper, like basically they go try to figure out this legend, they ring the bell, and then they start slowly turning into demons, actually. And we get into that, and then the bell keeper shows up, and I'll leave it at that since it's a new release. But this was not good at all. I'm sorry to say, I think we kind of knew it. Randy Couture starring in a horror movie, probably, not something I already knew. Basically, I didn't know Randy Couture was in it, but once I put it on, I saw starring Randy Couture. I was like, all right, this probably isn't going to be great. And I was very right, unfortunately. Yeah, I would say definitely skip this one. It's just dull, honestly. There's just nothing really new there. The kills are pretty uninspiring. And, Randy Couture does not a great job as the bell keeper, unfortunately. He's just like honestly like a pretty lame and boring character, and just a very sort of wooden performance by him, and just overall definitely skip this one. I give it a 1.5 out of 5.
I'm gonna go tell him he's gonna beat you up. You should go to Letterboxd, Joe. There's 0 reviews for the Bell Keeper right now. You'll be number 1.
Well, that's because it's on embargo. So there's like a strict embargo that you can't put it up until Friday. So I'm sure the reviews will start pouring in on Friday.
At midnight, you got to get on there.
All right, I'll do it.
And speaking of embargoes, a little tease for next week. There's a movie I cannot wait to talk about, but I can't until next week's episode. It's going to be either beloved or absolutely fucking hated, and I have no idea which of the two it's going to be. So can't wait to talk about it. Yeah, that'll be on my What Watch next week. The fun of October, so many things going on, so many movies coming out. So yeah, it's a fun time. All right, so that's all we had for What Watch, and now let's spill a little tea.
Oh, you want the tea? I'm sorry. We don't serve tea. Nope. Instead, you get a cup of Joe. And now here's Joe with the news.
All righty. Thank you so much, Chuck. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is your cup of Joe for the week. Let's start off with some pretty interesting news that's developed within the last couple of weeks, and that is the future of the Halloween series. Of course, no more David Gordon Green, although we'll be talking, I'm sure, a lot about him tonight. But the future of the Halloween series, currently Malik Akkad is shopping the rights for film and TV. So a lot is going to be going. We're going to be getting a lot of Halloween coming up. The most interesting thing that has come out about this is the television rights, as there is currently a bidding war between A24 and Miramax on who is going to get the rights to obtain for the Halloween TV series. No word as far as who is going to get the movie rights for that, but I'm sure A24 and Miramax will also be deep in on that as well. So yeah, I mean, what do you guys think about this? Who would you, I guess, rather see if it's between those two studios for sure? Who would you rather see take the reins of the Halloween series? And do we want more Halloween so quickly after Halloween ends? What do you think?
To your first question, I personally don't want any Halloween right this second because we just had the trilogy. Let's let it breathe a little bit. That being said, a couple years down the line, let's do it. But I think if Miramax gets it, it's going to be more traditional slasher. If A24 gets it, it's going to be A24. So honestly, I would love to see what a fresh studio and a little quirky studio like A24 could do with it, man. We've seen 13, 14 or whatever of these movies already. Pretty much the same plot. Let's change it up a bit, but not as bad as fucking Corey. Let's not do Corey again. Thank God.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Let's give it like just a few years, to breathe a little bit. I mean, I wouldn't complain. I'd still go see it even if it came out like tomorrow. But as far as which studio, I agree exactly with what Todd said. Miramax would probably be a safe, more traditional Halloween. A24 is an interesting studio to take on a property like this. Like I can't even think, have they done any major franchise like that they haven't started themselves? I can't think of a single one. So
If I'm not wrong, aren't they doing the Peacock series on for Friday the 13th?
but we haven't that we've seen. I mean, like
Right, that we've seen? No,
yeah,
definitely not.
so I'm really curious what they would do with a major franchise. So yeah, I'd totally be down. And oh my god, just to see the comments in the horror groups would be worth it alone. What about
Right.
you, Joe? I know you're the big A24 guy here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, my answer already. I'm, A24 for life. I should probably get it tattooed at this point on my body. But I mean, I already got the movie, but I think I need the A24 logo on me at this point because I'm such a A24 lover. But I think do it. Like let A24 take this series over. People are, I think at this point, like Todd said, you're wanting something different, right? So why not let A24, who's known for doing things maybe people don't love and things people do love, they're willing to take risks and they're willing to do something different. So I think putting it in their hands would be good for the franchise. It would at least be something different. I know a lot of people would probably hate it and shit on it, but at this point, change it up, right? We've seen Michael in Haddonfield pretty much every single movie doing the same thing over and over again. It might be cool to do something a little different. I mean, say what you will about Rob Zombie, but he did do something a bit different with that first Halloween movie, especially exploring Michael's backstory and stuff like that, that some people loved, some people didn't love. So I say go for it. Let's see what happens.
You know what I don't want though is I don't want a long drawn out TV show on Michael Myers before he kills his sister. Like I do not want to see him in third grade, second grade, something like that. I do not want to see him in elementary school. We don't need it. I don't need him like killing a dog or whatever. You know what I mean? Like I just hope they don't touch that. We know where Michael comes from. If they're gonna keep it in the Myers universe, we are. It's like Spider-Man. We know fucking where Spider-Man came from. We don't need to see his like origin story every damn movie. So I think if they do that, I'd be severely disappointed.
I think you kind of have to though, right? Especially for like a TV series, because TV series, are all about the long game and kind of, slowly progressing the story. I mean, sort of like Walking Dead did, which a lot of people didn't love at times. But I mean, I think that's exactly the route they would go. I think they would probably start with like early Michael Myers and slowly, maybe throughout the first
Well, I'll be
season,
disappointed then, Joe.
progress it. I know, but I think that's the way they're probably gonna go. But we shall see, and we'll give you
I,
guys
I,
any. No, go for it.
no. I'd rather have an aftermath, man. I think you do like a quick 1 to 3 episodes of like 1978 Halloween, and then you do the aftermath because I that's what I wanted to see in 2018's Halloween. I wanted to see. I know we kind of got that in Halloween Kills and Ends, I think, with like new sheriff characters coming in and like I want to execute Michael, no, don't, and that bullshit. But like I kind of want to see like what happens after he gets arrested if they go the route that he doesn't disappear like he does in part 2, which I don't know. The fucking timeline's so convoluted. Like there's trilogies here and here, and there's like I don't know. But yeah, I would hate to see young Michael Myers again, and I would love to see something after he gets arrested or disappears.
Well, we shall see, and we'll definitely update you guys on any and all information regarding the Halloween franchise. All right, next bit of news, calling all Terrifier fans. Terrifier 2 is going to be getting a theater release coming up on the day after Halloween, actually, November 1st. And Director Damien Leone has announced a very special treat for you Terrifier fans, as there is going to be a special 2-minute sneak peek of Terrifier 3 for those of you who head to the theaters to see it. You will also receive an exclusive poster of Terrifier 2 as well. So you can check it out. Grab your tickets at any select theaters. I know around me, AMC is doing it. I don't know about anyone else, but I think Sam and I are definitely planning to go and checking that out. Are you guys interested in that, or are you just going to wait and watch? I'm sure the leak will end up online anyway of the Terrifier 3 footage.
I'm not interested in the part 3 footage, but I am interested in seeing the theater. That'd be kind of fun.
Sure.
No, I'd watch it. It's just not coming out here, so I have no
Okay.
chance of watching it.
Yeah.
But I definitely would. And man, wouldn't it be funny if the Terrifier 3 footage is just like the bumper from Terrifier 2? You know, it's just like a big tease. Because I don't know
Yeah.
when he would have filmed this, right? Like the actor strike's been going on for a long time. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know where he got this
Probably
footage
something
from.
stupid.
Yeah,
I
I
know-
wouldn't.
those
It's
guys-
probably just Joe and Salem walking around.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. Well, I'll definitely for sure update you guys once I see it and let you know kind of what was out there. And I'm excited. I should mention too, the first 100 fans at each theater will receive an exclusive. It's actually a Terrifier 3 poster, so that's pretty cool. So you'll be able to grab that first 100 fans in the theater November 1st. Go check it out for you Terrifier fans, and maybe I'll dress as Art the Clown at my local theater if anyone wants to come down and make it a little extra fun. All right, next bit of news here is calling all Jasons. Is your name Jason? Well, if it is, Tombstone Pizza is doing a very special giveaway for Friday the 13th. If your name is legally Jason or Pamela or Crystal, you can enter for a chance to win free pizza. They are currently running the contest from October 1st through October 31st. You can head to tombstone.com/pizza for Jason. Who doesn't love free pizza? So do that, all you Jasons, Pamelas, or Crystals out there. All right. Next bit of news here is the Mothman. Have you guys seen the Mothman prophecies?
Yep.
Richard
All
Gere.
right.
Yep.
Yes, Richard
Yep.
Gere. Yeah.
Yeah.
One I think maybe would be a fun one to review at some point on this show. But the Mothman, of course, kind of came and went. I think was kind of would you call it a cult classic? I feel like there's a pretty decent fan base for it. But anyway, the director at a recent con did tease that they are currently developing a Mothman television series. So I think that could be pretty cool, pretty interesting. We'll definitely keep you guys updated on that. But I think that would be pretty fun. I do love the whole Mothman mythology, and honestly, something that isn't explored enough of. So Mothman, the television series, possibly coming very soon. Alrighty, just a couple more stories to get through tonight, and that is Toy Fair recently was revealed, and there is some really awesome stuff coming out. I will quickly go over some of the things here. Most exciting, I think, for Steve and Todd is the Day of the Dead toy line that is going to be coming out from Trick or Treat Studios. There is going to be based off several characters. Obviously, we are going to be getting Bub, but also some of the human characters as well is going to be involved in this. It looks really awesome. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures yet, but being the big Romero fans you are, something you guys would pick up.
Yeah, I mean, I already have the bub from, what is that, NECA, McFarlane, something like that. But I would love to get the Joe Pilato one. That looks pretty cool.
You know, if I were in charge of this line, I would do the alligator with the taped mouth. It's like a nice little, it's like
accessory.
a little Easter egg.
That'd be dope. Like if you get the Dr. Tongue figure, you get the alligator.
But yeah, make
like
sure
Build-A-Figure.
it's got to have the wrapping around his mouth too, just to please fans.
Yeah.
Here's one for Steve, as NECA has announced an officially licensed Vincent Price action figure for the collection there. It's going to come, obviously, it's going to be the Ultimate Edition, so it'll come with multiple heads, multiple hands, all Vincent Price. Pretty cool there. Also, you Terrifier fans, Terrifier 2 figures are also on the way from Trick or Treat Studios. You're going to get a little Pale Girl, a Sienna figure, and an Art the Clown, among other characters, so that is pretty cool as well. Also, I think one of the coolest releases from Trick or Treat Studios come this year is the iconic Texas Chainsaw Massacre dinner scene. You're going to get all of the family sitting at the table along with a Sally Hardesty figure. So
It's a
that is
must buy
pretty.
for me.
I agree. That thing is
100%.
pretty badass. I think one of the coolest things released at Toy Fair for sure. Also, for you Goosebumps fan, they're releasing a Goosebumps line, Haunted Mask, Slappy the Dummy. That is also going to be coming from Trick or Treat Studios. There's also a Reagan statue coming that looks amazing from, I think, Iconic. Also, there is some Jeepers Creepers figures coming. There's a lot of great stuff coming this year. So definitely we'll keep you guys up to date on that. Check our Instagram stories. I'll probably be posting some of those on there. Also, a Chucky board game is coming as well, where you can battle Chucky. That is also going to be released by Trick or Treat Studios as well. And yeah, we'll leave it at there for tonight. So that is going to be it for horror news this week. Thank you.
Sweet. All right, trivia. So we are officially in quarter number 4. So we're starting at zeros. However, the up-to-date year list is in. Now, it took me about 3 months to calculate this. I had the AI running it back and forth, but here it is. Joe in the lead, 63 total points, but I'm right on his little butthole with 62. Steve at 59. So it is any man's game. Quarter number 4 is going to be deep. It's going to be hard. It's going to be frantic. It's going to be fierce. Someone will walk away with the title. Will it be me, 4-time champ coming up? Or will it be a new person? I don't know what to call you. I was thinking of something, but
well, two things before we start trivia this week. Number one, it's cool that we each won a quarter. So that's I think the first time that ever happened. Number two, because you weren't there last week, you haven't given us our punishment film that we need to do because you won the last quarter.
That is true. That is very true. Thank you for reminding me, which you guys have as of, I think, yesterday or 2 days ago, I gave it to you. But the film you guys will be watching is a little film called, well, let me ask you a question. Do you guys like dinosaurs? Jurassic Park, Jurassic World?
Who doesn't?
Okay. How do you feel about prison movies? Cell Block 99, women's prison?
Don't love most of them, but
how about 2023's Dinosaur Prison? Currently streaming on Tubi with 3 total reviews on Letterboxd. Enjoy Dinosaur Prison, directed by Mr. Tyler James.
Excellent name.
Excellent name.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
if
thank
it
you for
doesn't have a
choosing that
dinosaur
one.
in prison, I'm gonna be upset.
Yeah, so you actually gave me 2 choices, and you decided to go with this one. I actually watched the other one today.
Why?
Oh,
That's
no.
not how it works.
He's a glutton for punishment.
And it was awful. So
Which one was it again? The title?
I'd have to check my letterbox.
Something stupid.
Yeah, definitely. The Legend of the Lizard Man, 2023.
Oh yeah, that's right.
112 minutes. It's based on a true story. So yeah, there you go.
But yeah, trivia was pretty crazy. Joe was commanding. He had back-to-back quarters with 24 points apiece and kind of shit the bed. Quarter 3 with 15. Your best, Steve, was quarter number 2 with 30. My best with quarter number 2 with 24. And then Joe's worst 15. Your worst 14. My worst 17. So yeah, man, it's been back and forth the whole time. So it's been pretty
I'm ready.
competitive this time.
Yep.
Love it.
All right, who wants to go?
I'll start us off. 3 Letterboxd reviews. Name the movie.
Okay.
All right. Somebody once insisted I would grow out of liking this movie. Wrong. All right.
Okay.
Number 2. Some weird, horny nonsense that's full of weird, horny characters and delightfully cheesy acting. It's pretty fun and endearing. And number 3.
All the 80s.
Every slasher.
Yeah.
This is the dead giveaway, so be ready.
I hope so.
Wow, Bodacious Booby Sis is a real
Night
life
Demons.
movie.
Night of Demons. Hocus
Yeah,
Pocus.
Night of
Yeah,
Demons, correct.
Why would the
Correct.
fuck would he say that to his little sister?
Oh, that'd be interesting for a family movie. Like,
ooh, this movie's done. All right, let me pull up mine real quick.
And she's also like 8.
Yeah,
I know.
All right, in Exorcist Believer, the film we're gonna talk about later.
Oh, Christ.
What's the name of Chris McNeil's book?
Oh.
God. Just watched it yesterday too. It's embarrassing.
No, shit.
Exercising my demons.
No, that would have been better probably.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Pass?
I definitely don't remember. Yeah, pass.
All right, A Mother's Explanation.
Okay.
Boring.
Boring.
Lame.
Boring.
Probably didn't sell very well with that title.
Yeah. All right. Bringing it back finally. It's been a little while. Guess the movie based off the IMDb parental guide. Starting with sex and nudity.
Love it.
A brass door knocker of a tiny man with big testicles is seen on the door and being used by a young girl.
Jeez.
That would be Scary Movie 2.
Correct.
Nice job. Gee whiz.
I knew it was one of the scary. It was just honestly a complete guess on which sequel it was, but I knew it was one of them.
Well, I do have an exorcism theme, and that is the one with the Exorcist scene in it. So,
Oh, that's
yeah, it's a great scene actually.
Gotta watch that eventually.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Guess the movie based on letterboxed info. I'll give you a bunch of info of the movie, actors and stuff, and you try to guess the movie. All right, this movie released in 1990. Clocks in at 110 minutes long. Tagline: Do you dare walk these steps again?
Exorcist 3.
That is correct.
Very nice. Good movie too.
Great movie.
Great movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. I will give you the actors. You give me the film.
Okay.
Dennis Hopper. Simon Baker.
Land of the Dead.
Correct.
Wow.
I did Dennis Hopper, but I didn't want to say it right
I was
away.
waiting on Texas Chainsaw Massacre, honestly.
Yeah,
That was gonna be my first guess.
All right. A regular question. And I'll first tell you the answer is not Max von Sydow. Okay.
Okay.
Which famous Star Wars actor appears in The Exorcist: The Heretic?
Mark Hamill.
Wrong.
Christopher Lee.
Wrong. You guys want one more guess? Have you seen The Exorcist: The Heretic?
I haven't. No.
Okay.
Grand Moff Tarkin.
I started a long ass time ago, but I don't remember anything about it. I just remember it being not good. That's the second one, right?
The second one. Yeah.
Yeah. Famous Carrie Fisher.
Wrong. So if you watch Exorcist 2, it takes place in Africa and is James Earl Jones, who plays the voodoo priest.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Terrible movie, though.
All right. Back to me?
Yep.
All right. What is the name of the demon that possesses Reagan?
Pazuzu.
Oh, it was close.
Wasn't close. I got it
close.
first.
I got it
It's
first.
close. It was very close.
You didn't
I
get
feel like
shit.
I feel like I heard Steve first, but
Me too.
you definitely got
Because
the
he goes,
tape on
because
that
he
one.
goes, "Pa-da-da." And I'm dignified.
In that
I
voice,
say,
exactly.
and I'm dignified. And I say Pazuzu.
Yeah. He puts
Steve
his little
says a
finger up
shout.
and he says Pazuzu.
Go to the tape, I guess.
I
Fucking
will.
tape editor. All right. I'm putting my one in there for each of us.
For each of us.
Okay. I'm going to give you the character name, the lead character in this film. You give me the movie.
Mhm.
Reverend Cotton Marcus.
I only know one
Reverend.
cotton, and it's not from that one. It's not from...
Yeah, it's not
Cotton
Cotton
Weary.
Weary. Reverend, she ain't no Sharon Stone. Reverend Cotton Marcus.
That's all we get, huh?
That's all you get. It's the lead character of the film.
Silver
go.
Bullet.
Correct.
Let's go with
I have a second guess.
Cotton Marcus. That's what you said?
Mhm.
I'm going to go with, I have no idea. Just I'll
Okay,
guess.
so I'm going to give you another character this actor has played
Okay.
in a very famous show.
No,
He plays a character named Howard,
the
and he's
duck.
a lawyer. The duck.
He's a
He's
lawyer.
a lawyer
Howard?
in Better Call Saul. Howard.
Oh.
Oh.
The character's name is Cotton Marcus, the Reverend.
He plays a lawyer, Howard? I've seen Better Call Saul. I can't think of the actor though.
Going once,
I don't know.
going twice.
Yeah.
You can find this character in a mockumentary or documentary, whatever you want to call it, in The Last Exorcism, which is a
I
great movie.
did not remember that at all.
Good movie.
I didn't
Who's the
see
actor? I can't
Everyone's
remember
talking.
the dude's name.
It's that like fucking asshole
Um,
from Better Call Saul.
He's not an asshole. He's
Oh.
legit. He's good. Where's the actor in this fucking thing?
I can't place his face right now, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone was singing the praises of the last exorcism on our Discord today. I didn't remember
Oh.
liking it all that much.
I remember it being pretty good.
That's
Thought the
pretty
idea
cool.
was good,
Yeah.
but the execution wasn't like the best. But I only saw it in theater, so it's been a long time. So maybe I'm due for a revisit.
The one thing I do remember is it gets a little fucking wild at the end.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, when they go in the
not
field
best
and,
ways.
like,
yeah.
I like the
Mhm.
ending. It like justifies
Yeah.
everything that's going on.
hmm
Maybe I'll rewatch it one day.
Mhm.
I remember digging it for sure, like based on memory.
All right, final question of the night. Linda Blair is most famous for playing Reagan in the Exorcist franchise, but she also starred in another exorcism film. What is it?
Oh,
Did she?
She did.
Um,
I'll
The
even give you
Exorcist 2.
outside of the Exorcist franchise.
Damn it.
God, I feel like it's a movie I watched.
I'll
Actually,
even give
not
you
based on-
the year if you want.
Is it? Okay, sure.
Do you want to give a guess first?
I'll give a Hell Night.
No.
Okay.
No exorcism in it.
It's like a slasher.
Okay. It's been a while.
1990 is the year it was released.
Oh,
1990, another exorcism movie.
really?
Huh.
Mhm.
Is it something we've all watched?
I have no idea.
Okay.
Was she in Exorcist 3?
It's not an exorcist.
I didn't see.
She wasn't though.
No.
Ah,
No
I got
idea.
nothing.
So the answer is Repossessed, starring Leslie Nielsen.
The comedy, yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
That's right.
all right. Well,
I don't know if I don't think I've ever seen it.
yeah. It's Leslie Nielsen,
Yeah.
exactly like what you would expect.
I do like Leslie Nielsen, so
Yeah.
big
Yeah.
big fan of the Naked Gun movies.
Mhm.
all right. So, possible 3 for Steve, possible 2 for me, 1 for Joe. First game is in the bucket. Now, Exorcist.
Ooh,
Believer.
yes.
Directed by David Gordon Green, came out right now. It's currently in theaters, 2023 release, obviously. And we start off in a foreign country, and a photographer and his wife, who is pregnant, are being tourists. A giant earthquake hits, and the husband has to choose between having a medical procedure to save his wife or save the child. Flash forward about 14 years later, and he saved the child, and she's a teenager. They have a great relationship. She goes to school one day, and she meets up with her friend, and they decide to go off into the woods because they want to try to speak to the dead. And the girl in question wants to speak to her deceased mother. But it goes wrong, and for 3 days they are missing in the woods until they turn up randomly, and they have no recollection of what happened. They think it's only been a few hours, but in reality, the town and police and everybody has been looking for them for 3 days. And then we just start to get some supernatural things happen. And long story short, there's an Exorcist movie, and that's why it's called Exorcist Believer. I honestly had very little interest to see this movie because I don't think David Gordon Green is a great horror filmmaker. He's got some cool comedies and stuff like that, but I don't really think he works well in the horror realm. This movie overall is going to be a gigantic miss for me. There are some cool things in it. Like, I did like some of the imagery we get. I think the acting was pretty good for the most part, at least from the principal cast there, like the main guy, the kids, things like that. And I think a little bit of cinematography was pretty cool as well, sound design, things like that. But overall, I'm gonna have a lot to discuss negatively about this film. So what are your guys' initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was like concerned once I heard David Gordon Green was going to be involved after what he did with Halloween Ends and Halloween Kills, which wasn't the best. Although Halloween 2018 was pretty solid. So I was like, okay, if any of these Exorcist movies are going to be good, it'll probably be the first one. And then the trailers start coming out, and I was actually, the more I saw the trailers and stuff, I was actually starting to turn and be like, okay, this actually might be really good. So I went in with like a fairly open mind here. And I'm pretty much with Todd. I think this is pretty much a big miss for me. But there are elements I did enjoy overall, but some of the choices, man, were just unforgivable in this movie to me. If you listen to our Exorcist TV series reviews, one of my biggest complaints is what they did to Chris McNeil in that television series, and it was just I felt it was just a slap in the face to the franchise. They do the same exact thing in this movie, but almost fucking worse. And just what they did to Chris McNeil in this movie, and we'll get into it, and Ellen Bernstein, honestly, is just a slap in the face to the fucking franchise. They did not do anything like that in Halloween that was this egregious. This to me was egregious and unforgivable to the legacy of the Exorcist movies. I really fucking hated that part. As far as positives go for me, I did think most of the cast was solid. I really liked Leslie Odom Jr. Ann Dowd is fantastic in everything. That woman is underrated actress. I absolutely love her in everything she's in. I thought the two girls were also great in this with what they were given. So I will say positives for that. And the first, honestly, I really did enjoy the first part of this movie. The problem is once we get into the Exorcist shit, it just falls apart for me and it just becomes terrible. It really honestly starts with when they introduce Ellen Bernstein's character, Chris McNeil. It all fucking goes downhill from there and it just never recovers for me.
So it looks like we're going to be in agreement tonight on this film. Not too surprising. I also went in with an open mind. Now, I had the kind of unique opportunity to go through the Halloween Horror Nights house of this movie, and it was actually one of my favorite houses, and it was actually incredible. So I was more psyched about this movie than maybe I would have been otherwise because the house was so cool. Basically, the house was the exorcism scene, and they showed it in like various stages. Like at first the girls are kind of normal and then the girls are more possessed and then they're puking up on the ceiling. It was actually a really cool house. But the movie itself, a lot like Joe said, the first half-ish of the movie I enjoyed. I really liked the relationship between Victor, which is Leslie Odom Jr.'s character, and his daughter Angela. I thought the father-daughter story was really good. She was creepy, man. She was just like creeping on him at some certain points. Like there's a scene where she leaves the room and then all of a sudden she's back in the room, just like being super odd. I like the story that they kind of disappeared, didn't know for how long. They thought it was only a few hours. It actually been 3 days. Like there was a lot going for it early on. And I thought, okay, this is an interesting take on how the girls get possessed and stuff. But holy shit, that second half just takes a fucking nosedive. And like Todd said, there's a lot I want to get into as to why that is. But like Joe said, the most egregious thing is what they do with Chris McNeil's character. Now, I wasn't that sad about what they did with the TV show version of The Exorcist, which I thought, by the way, is way fucking better than this sequel to The Exorcist. But oh god, that just the way they bring her in, what they do with her once she comes in, the exorcism itself is a goddamn mess. Like what a mess of a story there. Yeah, they really dropped the ball, and I hope David Gordon Green stays off all of the franchises. Like if he wants to make his own shit, fine, but stay out of the franchises because this wasn't good.
Agreed. Where do you guys want to start? First of all, the bum in the homeless shelter should have got slugged by the dad for the sexual innuendo towards his missing daughter.
Yeah,
that's a slugging.
But at the same time, it's like you're going to a place with people that have, they're not right and they have issues.
No. It's we're slugging.
I don't know, like
slug him.
He shouldn't have been there in the first place. Really.
That scene was just weird in general.
It was weird.
It was really like unneeded and unnecessary. I mean, there's just like a lot of like weird dialogue in this movie, in general.
Yeah, and I told you guys in the chat. I feel, and you hit it, Steve. With the filmmaker should do his own stuff. I think he thinks he's good at imitating, which he is a little bit, but he misses what makes these films special. Halloween, Exorcist, and just disrespects the franchise, like Joe mentioned. And do you guys want to start with Chris's cameo? That's kind of a good jumping point. I mean, the whole first 45 minutes of this is them just talking to the kids and taking them to the doctor and trying to figure out what's wrong with them, really. Yeah, so go take it away.
No, I was just gonna say before we get into that, I did want to say, like, do you think it was needed for them to show like what the girls actually did down there? Because we never actually see sort of the ritual that they do or like what they exactly summoned. Like we don't know yet. And obviously that is also the problem, I guess, with making a trilogy, because they're like, I'm sure they're gonna introduce it or tell us at some point like what this demon is. Like we knew right away in the original Exorcist, it's Pazuzu, Captain Howdy. It was conjured from a Ouija board. Like it seems like what they did down there was a similar like thing, but like a newer version of it, where they're like bringing stuff in and trying to I think she was trying to conjure her mother, right? She was trying to communicate with her mother, and they opened some sort of door. Do you think it was necessary, or do you like that they kind of just didn't show it and they end up missing and we don't know?
I think we kind of have to have that. And as another critique for me is they showed stuff that we didn't need to see, like the homeless shelter scene. Didn't add anything to it, and they overlooked stuff that we wanted to see, like how we got to this point, and then later on the exorcism itself.
So we know that it's Pazuzu, right? It has to be Pazuzu that's possessing the girls because Pazuzu would recognize Chris McNeil, right? They make a point to show that this demon knows Chris McNeil, knows about Reagan, teases that Reagan was killed. So it has to be Pazuzu. I don't know. Are demons like fucking chatting at the water cooler in hell? Like
They have Facebook Messenger.
yeah, barely, right? Like I don't know what the fuck. Like it has to be Pazuzu, and it should like fucking Chris McNeil should have been haunted way more than she was. There should be imagery from Pazuzu, whether it's Pazuzu's face or the statue or something that connects the first film that makes her feel that Pazuzu is back. Like, you know, kind of leading into what happens with Chris McNeil, she's just brought in such a random way, way too willingly for no reason. And like basically a stranger comes to her door, says, "My daughter's possessed." She's like, "Cool, I'm gonna drive with you, random
Son
person."
of a bitch, I'm in.
Yeah, exactly. And face the demon, which she specifically says she hasn't faced in The Exorcist.
Can I stop you right there?
Yeah.
I absolutely hate this scene, okay? Because in the first film, we have people, yes, they happen to be men, but they're people, man of faith, whatever, that literally give their lives to save this little girl. And Chris McDill has the audacity to say, I wasn't allowed in there because of fucking patriarchy. Shut the fuck up. These guys gave up their life for your daughter, and this is the line we get after not seeing you for X amount of years in this film. That's the best you can get up with, some clickbait bullshit. I cannot stand that scene. And then, yeah, she has this problem, and then you're like, oh, I'm an expert, even though you're not an expert. You're not. You we're on the sidelines, you know what I mean? So just to like throw away their legacy is just so fucking disrespectful. They're amazing characters. Doesn't matter if they're men or women. They did a fucking cool ass thing, and just to throw them away like they're nothing was like that really made me mad about this film.
Yeah, I mean, this whole thing is really, they really do tarnish a lot of the legacy of that original. But just like, that is not even Chris McNeil's character. She is just like a terrified mother in that first movie, that just wants help for her daughter. You know, there was never any of inkling of that at all in the entire movie. I mean, she just wanted help. And then all of a sudden, like, she's fucking has the, like, she, after all these years, like, goes in and tries to be like the Exorcist. Like, that was I fucking hated
Awful.
this scene so much. He just like all of a sudden just like comes in and just starts doing like what an exorcist priest does, which she's not a priest in any way. Like, doesn't have any experience with this. And it's not like, okay, she wrote a book, but like, it's not like she's fucking delved on this exorcism shit her entire life. She wrote a book and kind of moved on. And now like they're trying to treat her like she has like this like special ability to go and fight this demon off. Honestly, it was so fucking dumb. I hated it. And then it just didn't make sense. And then for them to just fucking spit in the face of that character and the legacy by having that character, granted, a cool scene, like with her eyes getting stabbed out, but do it to a different fucking character. Don't do it to the legacy character that you were bringing back, that in the trailer, honestly, you teased was going to be like this big sort of savior or at least help of the movie. And literally you dispose of her in a matter of like 2 minutes of screen time. You know, I hope she got paid well for this movie and she made a lot of money, because holy shit, like I can't believe, honestly, I can't believe she agreed to come back with the way this script was written. I know they did this whole emotional bullshit that we'll get into later with Reagan and whatnot, but yeah,
Let's get
really,
into
really disappointing.
Let's get into that now. Chris says that she hasn't seen Reagan in X amount of years because Reagan was mad about her writing the book, and then she can't see her ever again because her eyes have been gouged out. Really, David Gordon Green, this is the subtlety that you're putting into this movie? It's so fucking lazy, and I cannot stand it. Was it a shocking scene? Yeah. Was it cool? Was it brutal? Sure. But then she's gone, and she does not come back. And I'm like, what? Such a wasted opportunity of a legacy character. You can't bring back the guys. You can bring back Chris or Reagan, but this is what you decide to do with her. You have a stupid ass throwaway line, and she gets disposed of within 10 minutes of her screen time. It's like, wow.
Yeah, the whole thing was an issue. So, David Gordon Green, please pull up a chair. I'm going to tell you how it was supposed to be done. You have Chris McNeil.
Hold on, let me get his notepad out.
Yeah.
There you go. He's ready.
You have Chris McNeil have dreams that Pazuzu has come back. You have her see visions of the two little girls so that when Leslie Odom Jr. does show up to the door, she's already expecting him because she knows that Pazuzu is back and she's the only person who might have the resources, not herself, but has the resources to maybe fight back because she's kept in contact with people who have done this over the years. And it should have been the fucking priest from The Exorcist, the one at the end who kind of like does the last rites to Father Karras as he's passing away. That's how they should have brought this whole fucking story together. This whole just showing up at the door and doing nothing, just trying to do the exorcism herself immediately. Like she walks into the door, she's like, time for an exorcism, bitch. And she just goes up there alone and then gets stabbed. Good. And then we don't see her for the rest of the movie till the end. Absolute fucking waste of that character. Oh my God, I was so mad. And from there, it didn't get better. It didn't get worse because that was really the kind of peak of the shit. But
I think it gets worse personally.
Really?
Yeah. And this is like way at the end of the film, but the whole "we have to have hope" monologue, I was like, shut the fuck up. The 13-year-old girl, 14-year-old girl was just fucking dragged to hell because you guys fucked up. And then this is like, we have to have hope. Shut up. Just shut up, David Gordon Green. Be quiet. Him and his whole writing team, just stay away from it. Go to comedy. Stay away from this shit. Or hire Steve to fucking give you notes. I don't know.
Yeah, it was so bad. Okay, so enough about Chris McNeil because it's just going to piss me off more. So how about we get into the second half of this movie? So this is where the girls start exhibiting more behaviors of exorcism, of being possessed, and then get into what is kind of an exorcism, but also not. I don't know. It was super weird. I don't know. Like the Exorcist fucking stays in the car for half the fucking time.
He's fucking like, nah.
Yeah. It was such a weird scene. Like there's so much going on. There's multiple characters. There's a like an earth healer, and then there's a Catholic like priest who doesn't want to do it, and then there's other people because it's two families it's just a fucking weird scene overall. What do you guys think of it?
Well, it was a shame that we didn't get more of the actual priest in this. I know that's what we all wanted because, especially you, Steve, with the religion horror, you love that. And we see a scene where he goes to like the big boss man, and he's like, no, you cannot do an exorcism. And then he goes to the family, he's like, hey man, I can't do an exorcism. But my girl over here that maybe wanted to be a nun, but she's a nurse, she knows all about it, you're in great hands. And that's what they go with. That is what they go with in this movie. A person that might have been a nun at one point in her life, but it's 40 fucking years ago, and she's a nurse now. They're going to read from the Bible with a bunch of random people. I don't even fucking know who they were, honestly.
Yeah, so I think what they were going for here is that, any religion can perform an act. Like, let's not just like focus on Catholicism. Like, let's bring in these sort of other religions there. I don't even know what that other family was. Were they Christians or something? The father was a minister or something like that.
Yeah, they're Christians.
I'm not really sure. I mean, that family wasn't really explored that well, honestly. They're just church-going folk, but I don't even know if they mentioned like what religion they are and stuff. And then they bring in this sort of earth healer woman and all these random people. Pick a fucking lane, man. Like there's just way too much like if you want to go with, okay, let's not focus on Catholicism, let's go with some different religion. That's fine. And it's not like a bad way to go because every Exorcist movie obviously deals with Catholicism, but choose one or the other. Like throwing in all these fucking random ass characters into this one exorcism, it was just a mess to me. It just did not work at all. And then by the time you bring in the priest, like cool scene when they fucking break his neck. I did enjoy that part of that. That was a great scene. That was one of the best scenes in the movie, honestly, to show, like this demon is not to be fucked with. But at that point, it's just like everything else is just such a fucking mess here. So yeah, I just think it was just they like had an idea, but to me, it just did not work at all. It might, in theory and on paper, it maybe sounded good, but once it was executed, it was really just an absolute mess for me of an Exorcist scene. But I think I'll give credit to the girls here, and I will say positive. I think they're great. Like I really thought they gave great performances of being possessed. But let's get to we'll get more into it. But man, like think of The Exorcist and how fucking scary some of those scenes were. There's just nothing here that's memorable. You think back to The Exorcist, you have so many memorable moments of masturbating with the crucifix, which was fucking crazy at the time. The backwards head turning scene,
Your mother
the
sucks
the
cocks in
hell
hell. It's
that your mother
fucking
sucks just really fucking crazy and disturbing stuff. This is just really tame to me for for that. So yeah.
yeah. There's nothing memorable in this. I mean, I love the preacher neck snap because he's like, oh cool, the hero's here. He's gonna save. Nope, his head's fucking snapped off. I'm like, awesome. But the original is like calm escalation that keeps getting worse and worse and worse until all literal hell breaks loose and you just can't fucking even focus on what's going on because it's nuts. This movie is just like, all right, we have a demon face behind the dad. That was creepy. What else you got? Oh, we have a snake under a rock. That's okay. Jump scare. What else you got? It's standard shit.
Yeah, if you're making a sequel to one of the scariest films of all time, and you make something this fucking tame, like you're failing. This should have been. They should have thrown everything at this. It's got the Exorcist name on it. Like it should have been fucking crazy and scary. And my complaints with the girls is they didn't develop them enough. Like they go from normal girls to demon girls way too quickly. They focus on shit that just doesn't matter. Like the two families fighting with each other, and the whole backstory with the nurse, which I didn't hate the nurse character, but I think that was a lot because I like Ann Dowd as an actress, and that made it better. But that whole backstory was kind of just brought in really quickly. They really don't develop a lot of these characters. The priest, you barely knew who he was. He wasn't really integral to the story, and then they bring him in for the exorcism, and then he leaves the exorcism, and then he comes back to the exorcism. It was just a fucking mess. And the end thing, and I agree with Joe, they need to pick a lane. Like, I'm totally fine if they pick another religion or another faith to deal with the exorcism and to get rid of the demon. But there's so many people and things going on in that final scene. The girls aren't restrained, like, pretty much at all. It's a weird scene that it didn't work. It was too messy and had no focus. Like, the Exorcist had focus. The priests, they go in, they realize that this is tougher than they thought it would be. They leave the room, they come back. It's even, it's a slow progression, and this didn't have any of that. It was just like they threw shit in and hope it stuck, and it just didn't.
There's no danger. There's no danger. And besides these girls being kids and that's being shitty, like you guys mentioned, there's no development. Like there's a little bit with Angela, a little bit, but with the other character, like we're supposed to be really heartbroken about what happens to her, and it sucks because she's a kid and that she's a person. But apart from that, we don't know her. Like, okay, she diddles herself in the church, which was I thought a laughable scene and just looked weird, her playing with herself, and then her walking up the aisle screaming some shit. That's all we got of her, and it's like, why are we supposed to care? We don't know her. We don't know her family. Like, make us care. We don't.
Yeah, no, yeah, they did not develop. They did not do a good job developing her. I mean, I think they definitely did a better job developing the other character, the father and the daughter, but that whole family. I mean, you're supposed to be focusing on these two girls, so I think they should have gotten equal screen time of them developing both of these characters. Because, like you said, once it gets to of course, the choice of the two demons saying one girl's gonna live, one girl's gonna die, you have to make the choice. It's like, I think we care about one more than the other. And the one that does die is the one that isn't developed or cared about enough. I did like that, though. I did like that scene. I thought that was pretty cool that the demon once again played tricks, of course, when the father does say, I choose you. And the demon, of course, does the complete opposite and kills the one that they did choose. So I thought that was cool, and just showing that, this demon isn't here to play games. But then, I mean, this also becomes the problem with these legacy sequels now, or like that they're going to make this into a trilogy. Because, okay, like all of a sudden, like the demon makes a choice and then releases this other girl. So where do we go from here? Right? I mean, this demon obviously isn't done, but why did it decide to leave the girl? Is it going to come, or did it not leave the girl? It's still in there, but is like released her for now, and it's going to come back out.
Well,
I don't know. What do you guys think?
to expand them on that, how did they win? Because the whole thing of the Exorcist is like we have to be united front. We have to be strong-willed. We have to be better than that. We have to have faith. And all these different emotions, all these different walks of life, all these different people are in there doing their own fucking thing. how's the demon even fucking loose? You know what I mean? Did it lose? Do we want to know what happened, like you mentioned in part 2 and 3? I don't, because I don't give a fuck. Like, it's like setting a movie up for a trilogy. Have one contained movie. If it does great, expand upon it. If it doesn't, we can start over. But now we fucking stuck in this trilogy.
Like, why? Yeah, the demon itself was just a weird. Like, what was the end goal of the demon? Like, it doesn't really have a point. Like, it had a point in The Exorcist. It wanted to essentially take over Reagan, and in this one, it just felt like it was fucking around. Like, it's like he's bored and he's just gonna go around and do some shit. If they should have set it up, and again, pull up a chair, Mr. Green, because I'm gonna bring you to film school. I think this whole goal, if you really want to make this trilogy, was for him to get back to Reagan. If he really wants to make it like significant, and in some way he's trying to manipulate these families so that Chris McNeil comes back and then somehow gets his hands back on Reagan, because it's like unfinished business to this demon. We got basically none of that. It had nothing to do with anything. There's no reason. We don't know why he possessed the kids. We don't know why he's doing it, how he's doing it, why he let one go, why he killed the other one. It's just, I don't know. It just didn't set up anything. Like, it's like you said, I don't know what to expect in the second one. What kind of fucking film? It doesn't stand alone great, and it doesn't really set up anything for the next one. It's like a weird void.
Well, I think your theory might be right, Steven. I think that might be the way they're going, because the demon was able, I guess, to get Chris McNeil back, which, it ends up stabbing the eyes out. And that is the reason Reagan does come back into the picture at the very end of the movie. So maybe that is its end goal. And that's something we are going to pick up in the sequels. It was great to see Linda Blair back in that last scene. Obviously, I'm just being a big fan of The Exorcist. It was a treat to see her back, and I just hope. Do we think this was what's going to happen in the sequel? Like, is it going to kind of bring Linda more into the sequel, and she'll kind of play a pivotal role in this second movie?
I think that would be the goal. They didn't do
Right.
a good job of setting that up at all. That's really like all that whole Telegraph stuff. The movie doesn't do this. This is just me saying I want this, essentially. And knowing David Gordon Green, that might be the end. That might be the fucking end of Reagan and Chris. Like, happily ever after. Let's move on to my own shitty characters, Corey, and that'll be the legacy of this new franchise. So I don't know if that's what he's intending. That's what he should intend, but I don't know if that's actually what he's going to end up doing.
Do they abandon this whole trilogy now with Gordon Green at the helm because it made $44 million on a $450 million budget, including the purchase? Or what do they do? No?
No way. I mean, this movie was number one in the box office, so it's gonna end up probably passing. I mean, I don't know. Word of mouth right now is not very good on this movie, clearly. But you're putting a movie in October, it's gonna. I mean, Taylor Swift obviously is gonna dominate it the next couple weeks, but people will still go see it. So say it clears, 70, 80 million, and then merchandising, and then the next few, they'll definitely make that 450 back, I would think. But so obviously the big rumor that came out, I think today or yesterday, was that David Gordon Green might not be coming back to the director chair for the next two movies, but he still wrote it. Like, him and McBride still wrote these two movies. So it's still going to be his and McBride's vision, or just Green's vision. I don't know, if they collaborate on this. So it'll still be that team's vision, even with a different director in the chair. So, David Gordon Green is still going to be overseeing this. He's still going to have his, sort of hand on the pulse of the rest of this trilogy. So even with a different director, I don't think it can be saved. But we'll see. I mean, maybe they redeem themselves in this second movie and we have some great stuff with, Reagan. I mean, but for me, like, some of the choices they made, like I said, in this original, is going to be tough to forgive in these next two movies.
Yeah, I don't think they make their money back. So right now they're at 450 million. They have to make two more movies. That's going to be at least another 50 million each. So you're looking at 550 million. I just don't see this trilogy doing all that well, because people are going into this one with the goodwill that it's a sequel to The Exorcist, right? Whereas the next one, people are going like, ugh, this is the sequel to Believer. It's no longer the sequel to The Exorcist, it's a sequel to Believer. And I think people will be like, I don't really want to see this necessarily in theaters. Like, maybe I'll see it when it's streaming, and which is almost the way if I wasn't a huge Exorcist fan, that's how I would think as well. So I don't know. I think they're pretty fucking doomed, and they almost need to cut their losses and make the next 2 sequels. Someone else write them or something.
How do you guys feel about I know this was like a big thing in the online message boards and stuff like that, and that was that they did not pay tribute to William Friedkin at the end of the movie. Like no mention, no rest in peace at the end or anything like that. They paid a lot of homage to the original Halloween stuff and whatnot, and even Scream, for Wes at the end, Scream, but this one, no mention of Freakin', who literally just passed away a couple of months ago.
Do you think his past controversies have anything to do with that? I mean, Friedkin, great director. There's no taking away from his direction, but watch any documentary about any movie he's made. He's a fucking psycho. Like the way he treated Linda Blair in Exorcist, the way he treated some of the other cast members, it's pretty horrifying how he was as a director. So I'm wondering if that had anything to do with it. There's also a thing going around that shows that one of the last things he talked about when he first was asked about Believer was this, essentially the movie and David Gordon Green. So I don't know. I have a feeling that that's why he isn't mentioned.
Well, his movies are better than this will ever be. So
That's for sure. Yeah.
You know what? Honestly, this piece of shit makes you appreciate the original that much more, and also made me appreciate the show that Steve made us watch, which we all loved that much more too. And you know what? Bring in Russell Crowe to fight the next one. I think we get a crossover between Pope's Exorcist and this movie. I think that'd be pretty fun if we wanted to just go fucking wild with it.
Yeah, bring the priests from the Exorcist TV show. Bring Russell Crowe from yeah. It's like fucking the Expendables of Exorcists, to fight Pazuzu once and for all. That'd be that'd
Ed and Lorraine Warren, bring them in.
Yeah.
We're getting everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's the end goal here? Like for the third movie? Like how is this trilogy ending? It's gotta be like, right? It's gotta be Reagan and Chris joining.
So I think it's impossible to predict.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is the same fucking thought that got us into trouble with Halloween Ends, where we thought it would all lead up to Michael versus Laurie in a final fucking crazy showdown. And we did not get that. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be the same thing. We're setting ourselves up for disappointment. It should be the ultimate battle between Reagan and Pazuzu. But let's face it, that's probably not going to fucking happen at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's impossible to predict just for the reason Steve mentioned right now. We all saw where the trilogy was going with Halloween, and it went completely into left field with a new character that took 90% of the focus of the final film in a trilogy. So I have no idea. I have no idea what he's gonna do.
Do you think they learned something though from Halloween 3 or Halloween Ends? Like where they saw that the fan base really I don't see many people giving positive feedback on that movie when it came out. Do you think they heard that feedback and they're like, we can't make the same mistake twice?
No, because look at Exorcist Believer. They made that mistake in the first one already. At least Halloween 2018. People are upset about a couple things here and there, like the new Loomis was a little bit iffy, and Michael not being related to her. Okay, cool, acceptable complaints. But at least that was a Halloween movie. And then 2, still a Halloween movie, and then 3, the fuck is this? So no, they didn't learn from their mistakes because they just doubled down on it.
Yeah, I agree. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem. I feel like they're in an echo chamber, right? There are big time Halloween Ends apologists, people who really love it, and that's great. If you loved Halloween Ends, I'm super happy for you. I know a lot of people didn't, but if you did, awesome. But then maybe David Gordon Green only listens to those people who are praising it and completely disregard anyone who didn't. So I feel he didn't learn anything. God, I hope he stays off all the other franchises. I read something about Nightmare on Elm Street. I was like, fuck no.
Oh Lord, please.
He's rumored for Star Wars too.
Apparently that's not true, thankfully.
Wow.
Take him out of the hard. I mean, I think he's good in comedy, man. Like he's, I've been watching Righteous Gemstones lately. I really enjoy that show.
Is legit.
Yeah, I mean, he does great. He does comedy great. I think they think they're great at horror in their own minds.
They're
I
imitators.
honestly, I think they're still harping on the success of the original of Halloween 2018, and they still think they're amazing, or maybe he has a really good relationship with Jason Blum. I don't really know. It's got to be, but I think they think they're smarter than they really are when it comes to this genre, and that they, and I think that's the problem.
I agree. And Halloween ends. Take away Michael Myers from it, take away Halloween from it, and make it a fresh new story about this guy that gets labeled a fucking monster for accidentally killing somebody, and then it's a fucking cool movie. It's a cool movie, but it's not a good Halloween movie. So like we mentioned earlier, let him do his own thing, get your own property, make up your own story, and I'll watch it. But if you're taking any more previous entities over, man, it's not working.
And the thing that really fucking like razzles my nuts with him is that
Razzles your nuts. What does
I
that
don't know.
mean?
I don't know. I want to find something weird to say with that.
I'm Googling it.
Yeah. Is that not only is he taking on these like big name franchises, right? Like the other Halloween that we got, right? At least it was self-contained. It didn't affect like previous Halloweens. It was really just kind of Rob Zombie's own thing. He's making fucking sequels to the movies we love, and we talked about in the past, like reboots, sequels, all that stuff. If it's a sequel, it hurts them. Even though it doesn't take away from Halloween, I can still watch Halloween, enjoy it, and disregard all this shit. It's still, you get those characters, and I'm gonna always think about that Laurie and how her story ended so poorly, and it pisses me off. It's just, I don't know. Fuck that dude.
Let's rate it while our anger is super fresh.
Yes.
What do you got?
All right, I'll start us off. So, if this was not a movie called The Exorcist, right, and it was just an exorcism movie, I think I'd probably like this a little more, and I'd probably would have given it like a 3 or something like that. But the fact that you are incorporating The Exorcist, one of the most iconic horror movies of all time, and then just the choices you make, to me, they were just unforgivable in so many ways. Like I said, especially what they do with the legacy characters. Can this franchise be saved? We shall see in the next 2 movies. But as this movie stands, it's just not great. It's just not very good. The girls were good. There's some good performances here. But like I said, it's just, to me, it comes down to the writing and the choices that were made. So as an Exorcist movie, I'm giving it a 2 out of 5.
I mean, all right, cool. I mean, I give it my 2 cents. It's a bad movie, whether it's Exorcist or not. It's just not a good film. It's a 1.5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I don't want to take away from Leslie Odom Jr.'s performance and the girls' performance and Dad's performance. There are some good things about it, particularly in the first half of the movie. So I don't think it's like one of the worst films of the year, but holy fuck, was it a bad fucking Exorcist movie. So I'm giving it a 2 out of 5 as well.
Oof, brutal.
Absolutely.
Brutal. That's our worst 2023 reviewed mainstream film, for sure.
Is it?
Yes.
It's gotta be.
Mainstream? Probably.
Yeah.
Collectively, yeah.
Could be, yeah. Yeah, I really didn't know. I was interested to see. I had a feeling when I left the theater, I was like, yeah, Todd's definitely gonna hate this. But I was like, Steve's always the wild card, and especially because he loves Exorcist movies so much. I was like, he might like this, but yeah, I'm glad we're all sort of in agreement.
Yeah, we are.
And it seems like the majority of the audience is also in agreement. I think it's sitting at like a 2.3 currently over on Letterboxd. So that's about right where we're at in between everything. All right. So I guess that is going to be it, guys, for this week's episode. Don't forget, stick around for not 1, but 2 interviews this week, as we have Ms. Diamond Wigfall and also Buster Pants, who came on to promote their upcoming event in Salem, Massachusetts, October 28th. And also they will be doing our event, our Hocus Pocus event as well. So stick around for that interview. And also director Scott Slone for Malibu Horror Story is also going to be on this episode. So stick around for 2 great interviews right after this episode. Next week, we are going to be reviewing The Haunted Mansion. I know Steve is ready to talk about that. I'm sure he has a lot of thoughts about that one. So, and honestly, I can't wait to pick his brain about that as well, to explore a little more of the Haunted Mansion mythology. So next week, check out The Haunted Mansion. It's currently streaming over on Disney+. In the meantime, you can keep up with the podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, X, whatever you want to call it these days. Just search the Horror Squad podcast. You can also email us anytime, the Horror Squad Podcast at gmail.com. But of course, the absolute best way to keep up with the podcast is our Discord, completely free to join. Just send us a DM through any of our socials or email us, and we will get you a link to that Discord, completely free to join. Excellent community over there. We got movie nights going on every month. We got events, we got meetups. So definitely keep up over on the Discord. And merch as well. We did just release a new Hocus Pocus themed merch for the month of October. So you can do that. You can join, check our links, but buy some merch, help support the podcast. And as always, you can leave us a 5-star review over on any of your favorite podcast apps. That definitely helps us the most. It gets our word out there and helps spread the engagement. So we would appreciate it. And that's going to be it, guys. We'll see you guys next week for the Haunted Mansion. And don't forget, stick around for the 2 interviews. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad Podcast, where today we are joined by 2 very special guests. Please welcome Drag King Buster Pants and our very own Mistress of Ceremonies for our upcoming Hocus Pocus event, Ms. Diamond Wigfall. Thank you both so much for joining us today. How you both doing?
Hi, good.
I'm doing well, hanging in there. It's already October 2nd, and I'm feeling that. But
October is hitting hard this year.
yes.
Oh, I'm sure you're both very busy. Now I know that one of the main reasons you're coming on today is you both very busy Octobers, but there's a very special horror event that I know all horror fans and our listeners are gonna want to know about. So can you tell us about the very special Shining Shadowcast you guys have going on at the end of the month?
So we run Drag Shadowcast, which basically, if you've ever been to Rocky Horror before, when they do it at midnight and they have a cast of people act out the movie in front of the film while it's going. So we take movies like we've done Legally Blonde, Mean Girls, we've done Scream, we've done Elf. Yeah, we've done lots of great movies, and we've done The Shining before. And obviously, we did it in February last year, which was like, what's the coldest, most worst time that we could do the coldest movie possible? But we wanted to bring it back for Halloween because it's truly one of my favorite productions that we get to do. So it's a lot of fun.
Excellent. Now, obviously, Salem has a fantastic horror and also LGBTQ 2S plus community. How has the response been on your previous horror themed events in town?
They always go over really well, like no matter what time of year, like October, obviously people are gonna love it, but people want spooky stuff all year round. So we did Scream over the summer. We do The Shining in February. Like there's no wrong time to do spooky stuff at Salem. So people come out for it.
Yeah, we just actually finished Twilight, and that I didn't think that it would be as crazy as it was, but those Twihards, they went hard. They were
I love that Twihards. I don't think I've ever heard that one before. I love that though.
I think that's what their Reddit fandom is called.
Okay. Love that. So to be able to shadowcast a movie takes some extreme dedication. So obviously you both must be big fans of The Shining. Can you discuss some of the things about the movie that you find memorable or iconic, and the first time you ever saw it?
Well, I'll go first and then I'll let you expand on it. So I've seen the movie obviously a million times. I grew up watching it, and I actually got to see a screening of it at Cinema Salem when I was like 10. They did a special screening of it, and I went with my grandpa and my mom. Yeah, when I was like 10 or 11. So I had seen it at that point, and they were like, it's happening tonight. So it's always been a movie that I've been obsessed with. And I think as you get older, you realize there's so much more to it than what, just spooky stuff. There's incredible monologues. There's incredible like cinematography. There's so much depth in this 2.5-hour saga. So I think, retaking it and reclaiming it as queer people, and kind of like, Buster being a drag king, playing a misogynistic piece of crap, and like yeah, I don't know, just reclaiming it. And like, even I'm playing Wendy as Shelley Duvall, like you get such an appreciation for what they had to go through, and poor Shelley Duvall in the whole process too. But like you can feel the anxiety the whole time. So what about you?
The first time I saw it was like less than 10 years ago. Like I never grew up watching scary movies. I was like a pure Disney household. My mom didn't want to put on anything scary because she didn't want to deal with the fallout. So I saw it on like a date. Someone was like, "Oh, you've never seen?" Yeah. So I was like, "Hey, romantic, you want to watch The Shining together?" And like they fell asleep while I was watching it. So I was just like watching it essentially by myself for the first time. But I love psychologically tense movies. Like the silence that they fill with like ambient noise of like the chanting and the howling of the wind, and like it should be silent. You're just holding on like, what is that? That's how I like to be scared. I like the tension of it all.
Love it. Miz, I know you just mentioned about, Shelley Duvall. Have you ever seen like the behind the scenes like
Yeah,
stuff with her and Kubrick? It's
yeah, we
crazy.
watched it. Like as a cast, we sat there and watched it because we tried to learn a bit about how the movie was made in general, just because even when we're staging it, we try to match the cinematography. I don't, do you know the movie pretty well, I would assume?
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
I don't know. Looking at you, I wouldn't know, but you know the first scene where they're going through the hotel and it's like the shot of them walking one by one and like you see the hotel. So we choreograph it that way so it looks like we're matching it and things like that. And we try to do our research on what we're trying to give. So those videos are so horrible. He treats her so horribly. So yeah, we just try our best to reclaim that. Also, you know that she won the first Razzie for worst,
Yeah,
and they gave it, they
crazy.
rescinded it now. So
Good.
she officially doesn't have that Razzie, which she is a great actress in it. I don't care what anyone says. She's wonderful in the
And
role.
meanwhile, Jack Nicholson was having the time of his life. He was a living, be like, I get to go through a door. Yeah, this is my buddy Kubrick. We hang out.
Right.
Absolutely. So you mentioned Scream, and of course you have The Shining coming up. Have you already started thinking about what other horror films you would possibly like to do a shadow cast for in the future?
Okay.
What?
You go
No,
first.
I don't.
Horror specifically, I know we've dabbled. People have wanted us to do The Craft. I mean, that's not horror, but it is witchy.
Yeah.
Rich.
Yes. I mean, I think The Exorcist would be too hard.
Not yet.
That would be pretty cool though.
That would be pretty cool though, but
Yeah.
I mean, if we made Twilight work, I think we could maybe figure out how to make The Exorcist work.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, I think right now the top of our list, the one that we've really wanted to do is But I'm a Cheerleader, but we
Okay.
haven't got around to it yet because that's like so queer cult classic. And we do want to do Rocky Horror as well, but there is a troupe that does Rocky Horror, so we want to remain respectful and do our own thing, you know what I mean? Because that's what they do. But a dream of ours definitely has been to do Rocky Horror or The Craft. I would feel like spooky wise.
I feel like Prom Night 2 Mary Lou
Ooh.
could also be like a really good one because that one is like unintentionally like very gay. So
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
or maybe into I don't know.
The
No.
first Nightmare on Elm Street would also be really, really great to do too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Halloween.
Oh.
Perfect. Yeah.
That's easy.
Love
That's
that.
5 people in the whole movie.
It's just me
Right.
around the whole theater.
That's amazing. So thanks to festivals like Salem Horror Fest, queer horror films have recently had a bigger spotlight than they ever have. Is there any like particular ones you would recommend to our listeners?
Well, I think that so Salem Horror Fest is helping us produce this show. They're helping us, create promotion and really like getting out to their audience because we are like, their Kay is amazing. I love them. I love what they do. I think that in the last couple of years, I don't know if you saw that Netflix series. It was like a 3-parter Netflix horror, and it was very gay. They had a lot of queer characters in it, like Horror Street or something like that.
Yeah, Fear Street.
Fear Street. Yeah,
Fear
loved
Street.
that. I thought that was really, really great. And there's some good stuff on Hulu that I need to watch now because I keep seeing all these amazing promotions. But I think that Dragula, I don't know if you ever heard of the program before, but it's basically like there's Drag Race for the drag queens, whatever. And then Dragula is more like the queer as in fuck you type of drag. And I think that resurgence and reclaiming like queer people taking these horror identities and, you know, like Pinhead being now a queer icon, and like Baba Shook, the Babadook is now I accidentally a queer icon. I think that more and more these queer artists that have been behind a lot of these things are getting shown in the forefront. I don't know, queer people have to go through so much in general, like in their life. So they got some sick ideas up in that
Horror's a
head.
great way to unwind
Yeah.
from the reality of the world.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, obviously, Ms. I can tell you're like just been a lifelong horror fan, and Buster came in later in life. So, yeah. So, at what age was it that, like, you know, would you say was you saw your very first horror movie? What was it? You know, what was sort of the feeling and the reaction, just all that good stuff.
Do you want?
For me?
Yeah, you go
Okay,
first. You
so
go first.
I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and count Are You Afraid of the Dark? No, I'm just kidding. But I remember watching that as a kid and being terrified because we weren't exposed to
Yes.
anything spookier than that. So like Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark were so scary to me. And then watching them now, where I'm like, what? I was afraid of that. But the first like real horror movie I watched, I was in college and it was 8 a.m. class. I was studying American pop culture and we watched Halloween. And I realized if you watch a horror movie first thing in the morning, way less scary. So Halloween was actually my first one. And I was like, that was okay. It was psychologically intense. Like there wasn't a lot of gory, like creepy. Anything that dabbles in like
Gore is not your favorite.
gore and like rape stuff. Ugh. Not my scene. Not my scene.
You don't like that?
No.
I'm joking.
There's a lot of it in horror, which is why I don't watch a lot of it, because I'm like, I don't feel good anymore.
Yeah, I'm not enjoying this. The first horror movie I watched, my sister had a sleepover, and you can record this and then send this to her. She had a sleepover. I was 5 years old, and they watched Friday the 13th, the original one, and then they watched The Leprechaun back to back, and all of them fell asleep, and I was 5 years old, and I was like watching it the whole time, like shaking. So I think that anxiety trip kind of made me be like, I think I need to do this all the time. But my parents were always, you know, I watched Nightmare on Elm Street really young. I would say that's probably one of my favorite horror movies, just because, oh God, the mom in it is so great. Like,
I just realized I have to amend my answer. I remembered the first time I saw a horror movie was at a sleepover.
Okay.
And I was like a freshman in high school, and we saw Freddy vs. Jason.
Ooh, nice.
I forgot because it's horrible and embarrassing, but the first one.
Yeah.
I don't know if that counts, but I thought I should put it out there. Come out.
That counts.
That counts. That counts. Kelly Rowland, you know, like what a great actress in Freddy vs. Jason, her first acting role.
I was so scared, and then I watched it and was like,
this is dumb. I think the ring is what fucked me. Am I allowed to swear? Should I not swear?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. No, go for it.
Fuck that. Okay. The ring fucked me up. One of my best friends, Brittany, she would always take me to horror movies, and she told my dad and I to go see it. She's like, I just saw this movie. You're gonna love it. It's so scary. We're like 10 or 11, and I didn't sleep in my own bed for like 4 months, maybe, because I was scared that Sumara was gonna like grab my legs under my bed. So yeah, I think The Ring was probably like my most like eye-opening, like I think I like horror movies now. Like I think that this is going to be a part of my personality. And deep appreciation for it, for sure.
All right. Well, I personally have one final one. I think Steve might have another one for you, but I wanted to know top 5 horror movies of all time. Let's hear them. What do you got? Putting you on the spot.
That's tough. So I have a couple.
You go ahead, because
You can do top 3 if you want.
I have to. Okay, I love the director is slipping my name. He's from Salem. He did Dr. Sleep. What's his name?
Oh, Michael Flanagan.
Love Michael Flanagan stuff. I love
Yes.
everything because I love that he creates monologues, like scary monologues. I think to me that's 10 times more scary than just like killing and stabbing someone repeatedly. And I think that's why we like The Shining so much, because like a lot of the imagery is scary. Like that first monologue in the very beginning where the guy tells the whole story about what happened to the family is just so creepy, and it sticks with you like a lot more. So I love him. Gerald's Game is so scary. That movie screwed me up for sure. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
You check your
Gerald-
feet. You check your feet now at the end of the bed there for
Oh, yeah.
someone's.
Well, I was like, it made me like scared of the dark. I was like, is some man just gonna be like in the dark and like looping all the time? That Gerald's Game comes to mind. I really did love Doctor Sleep. I thought it was a really good take on it because I think that I love that they didn't rely too much on the original Shining tropes. Like it was kind of like its own side character in there. And I love that when they did eventually go back to it, it was really earned. It wasn't just like, here's the same scary shit you saw in the first one. And I think that Haunting of Hill House, that series. Oh, Midnight Mass too. I loved both of them.
Bly Manor was good too. Did you watch Bly Manor?
I think Bly Manor was my least favorite out of all of
them. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, just because of the janky accents. I was like, we need to stop here. You could have hired someone who's Irish. We could have figured that out. Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but I love a bad accent.
Oh, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. All right, you go.
Okay, my number one is Hard Candy.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm obsessed with that movie, and my dad was the first person to show it to me, and I was just like, I don't know. First 5 minutes in, he's like, no, trust me, hang on, it's gonna take a few twists. That is for sure my number one. I make way too many people watch it. Then probably The Shining. I've seen the most. I mean, aside from rehearsals now that we've seen it a million times. But prior to that, I could still probably act out the whole thing by myself. Then I don't know. Then it gets weird. Like Scream, Halloween. I mean, not weird. These are very normal movies, but I don't know. Ambiguous in order.
Classic.
I like classic. I love Scream because it's so meta. Like I love just meta humor. Like we're not in a horror movie. Whoa, what are you gonna stab me? And then, people get stabbed. So I'm always there for that kind of humor.
Yeah. Honorable mention to Nightmare on Elm Street for sure because it was. It's one of my favorites. I think my favorite moment is when like Nancy, is that her name, the lead girl?
Yes.
And she comes in, she slams the door, and she goes, "Mother!" Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
One of my favorite moments in a horror movie.
So my final question. So Ms., you will be the mistress of ceremony at the event at Bit Bar on October 20th. Oh, Buster! Even better. So, so the question is to both of you then. Can you give us a little bit of a preview of what to expect at that awesome party on October 20th at Bit Bar with the cast of a very popular witchy movie?
So I'll say, you might see some classic characters that come from said favorite Halloween movie, or there might be a moment with that for sure. There might be someone in a white mask moving very slowly. I don't know. There could be some of that. I think somebody's doing a Sabrina number, maybe. We got some good burlesque. We have some good drag. I think that will be a fabulous event and will be magical. Buster is probably doing one of my favorite numbers that they have. It's amazing. So I can't wait for you guys to see it. I don't want to give it away. I don't want to give it away because it is.
You gotta come see it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Tickets. You gotta buy those tickets to see the show
now, and before it sells out.
But it's probably like my favorite number you have.
Is
it? It's just it's a great.
When I came up with this number, it was like a throwaway number. I was like, it was when I used to do like burlesque with a troupe, and I was like, oh god, I need a number for this weekend, and I came up with it so fast, and now I've done it so many times, and it's probably one of my most well-liked numbers. That's the story for a lot of my most popular numbers. I'm like, I had to do a thing, and now everybody loves it.
Yeah, that's how I feel about my Taylor Swift number. I'm like, ugh.
Well, yeah, I mean, Buster and Ms. Diamond, we're both so excited to see you both at both events. I mean, we got, of course, it's just a bunch of Halloween, October 20th at Bit Bar. You can get your tickets. It's just a bunch of Halloween.com. And then, of course, you Shining fans are not going to want to miss the Shining Shadowcast October 28th at Cinema Salem. You're doing 2 showings, right, for that?
Yeah, because my dad said, why do you have to keep doing these late night drag shows? And I said, Dad, I'm going to have a matinee and you're going to be the only person that... no, but we're gonna get people there. I think people will want to come see a 2 p.m. show too. Like people who are visiting, they don't want to be out till like midnight or 1 in the morning. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So make sure you get your tickets. Those events, those drag shows definitely sell out. So you do not want to wait. Definitely grab your tickets. Cinemasalem.com is where they can get tickets for that.
Yep, there's cinemasalem.com, and on the one page you can choose what showtime you'd like to go to. So
Okay. Perfect. And one last thing before we let you go. It's all yours. Tell us where people can find you, Instagram, Twitter, wherever, anything else you'd like to promote, go for it.
this camera, this camera, this camera.
Exactly.
You can find me on social media at Ms. Diamond Wigfall. And make sure to follow, I guess, my link tree is always up there with my schedule, any ticket links, any information that you would need to find. And what about you?
You can find me on Instagram at Pants Buster. My name is Buster Pants, but think about it as roll call. That's where you can find me. That's the only place you can find me. I'm not on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. One mode of internet for me.
You mean X?
Oh, X. I'm not on X. Is it really called that?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It is now, yeah.
It looks like a little porn app now. You know,
Really?
You know what? It actually does, yeah.
it
Good
does.
point.
I'll show you. But yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Ms. Diamond Wigfall and Buster Pants, it was an absolute pleasure to have you both on today. And anytime you want to come on again, we would love to have you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you guys so much.
Yes. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Horror Squad podcast, where today we are joined by a very special guest. His new movie, Malibu Horror Story, will be hitting theaters on October 20th. Please welcome the writer and director of the film, Scott Slone. Scott, thanks so much for joining us today. How you doing?
Good. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. So why don't you start off by telling our listeners what Malibu Horror Story is about and what inspired you to make it?
Yeah, so Malibu Horror Story is about 4 kids that go missing after graduation night. They decide to go on a little kind of deer hunter style one more time trip with everybody, and they go up to the out to the woods, I guess you could say, up to the mountains of Malibu, and they go missing. And then the case becomes kind of a local phenomenon. No one could figure out what happened to these boys. And years later, a team, when the case kind of goes cold, a team of paranormal investigators decide to kind of take a look at some of the footage that had been released to the public, which was the 4 initial kids. They basically were filming everything that they were doing. And so upon second inspection, they might spot something that the police didn't see. And so they follow that lead and they go up to the same area where the boys went missing and try to find out what happened to them. As far as inspiration goes, it was just, in 2009, I got to see Paranormal Activity in the movie theater around Halloween. And as a kid, I did live near Burkittsville, Maryland, and I did get to see Blair Witch, and I did think it was real. So I can honestly say that I felt the same kind of vibes after seeing Paranormal. And most of the time I was watching the movie, I was watching the audience, to be honest with you. I thought the audience really reacted well to that film, and I felt there was a whole generation that didn't know anything about Blair Witch or a cannibal holocaust or, a film like that. And so I went home and I was like, hey, I want to do something like this. And because I had come from film and shooting everything on film, digital had just came out and high definition HD had just came out. So digital looked quite good and it gave it a different feel. Early digital wasn't trying to necessarily replicate film. It was just these camcorders became so high end that you could actually shoot something that people would watch on their television or even the movie theaters. So we went out in 2010 to shoot the very first version of the movie, which was called Malevolent, which only 4 total seconds of that film is in the current version of the film now, which is insane.
Wow. Yeah, I was going to ask, the cave and mountain settings in this were very, very effective and felt so genuine. So I'm assuming with this one, you also went out and filmed sort of on a location?
Yeah. So, that's a great compliment, but I'll give you the BTS side of it. The behind the scenes side of it is yes, One cave that we shot in is on a movie ranch out in Valencia, California, which is near Six Flags, about an hour north of LA, Blue Cloud. And that was a cave that was originally built for the TV show called Weeds. And we actually ended up building more onto it to kind of make it kind of go twist and turn. And there's some more claustrophobic areas of the cave that we really kind of capitalized on. And then the other cave is a real cave right below the Hollywood sign in Bronson Canyon. It's the original Adam West Batman cave. So those are the two caves we shot on.
Very cool, and they really did work perfectly for the whole setting of this movie. Really added to the creepy vibes of it all. So did you have any favorite sequences or scenes you filmed, or perhaps something that was challenging that you're proud you were able to accomplish?
I mean, to be honest with you, in independent filmmaking, everything is challenging, right? You know,
sure.
and the clock is your worst enemy, right? So you're never friends with your AD or your line producer or UPM, you know, because they're always looking at you with their, you know, their watch saying, hey, man, we got to move on. We got to move on. So I like to get as many takes as I can before I get it right. So I would say, you know, time was challenging. And then just, you know, shooting this over, you know, a course of 10 years. You know, I had the original 4 boys that went missing. I literally had them when they were 18 years old. And I shot with them for, it was kind of like Richard Linklater's Boyhood. Like I literally, you could see them. There's only 4 seconds, but there's this one clip that says freshman year. That is really when they were like 18 years old. And then so it, you know, the challenge over the years, I'd say the biggest challenge is over the years trying to keep the film feeling the same thematic kind of, and interweaving all the layers of media, I think were the biggest challenge. I think the biggest challenges were really in post-production, right? That's where we spent the bulk of our time. So that's kind of what I would say.
Wow. So it was really, truly a labor of love. You must have been just like thrilled when you finally were able to finish this up.
Yes, definitely. When we finished it, we finished somewhere around October of 2021, and we went to our first film festival, Horror Fest, up in St. George, Utah. And we got Scariest Film, and I was like, okay, you know, audiences like this. And then we went to like 4 other festivals and won like Best Picture, Best Horror at 4 other festivals. I felt really good then knowing that, okay, people understood the picture, because I was still worried that I had putting too many layers of media in here, you know, because for me, I was like, I'm a pretty diehard found footage fan, and like breaking that 4th wall is like a rule I don't want to break. And like, I don't break it in this, but it might feel like I break it in this, but I actually don't break it in this. So it was a lot of technical stuff that I wanted to make sure came across, and that people, you know, this isn't a found footage film. It's a hybrid film. It's a horror film with a kind of ghost hunters mockumentary found footage film inside of it. So I wanted to just make sure that people, you know, could grasp that, and that we're okay with that. And that made me feel the best, because we shaped and molded it over years, and you don't know. Sometimes you could turn left and it's the wrong left, right? You know, and so it feels really good to just have it come out, you know, for better, for worse. Yes. In general, just to have it come out is the best thing, best feeling. Yes.
Now, one familiar person I noticed in the cast is Troy James, who has starred in several horror movies over the years, maybe most notably Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, amongst many others, though. So I just want to know, you know, for those who don't know, this man is able to sort of contort his bodies in just the craziest ways you'll ever see. So I just want to know, you know, how was it sort of working with him? But also, you know, can you talk a little bit about the rest of your cast as well and how it was with them?
Yeah, so with Troy in particular, Scary Stories hadn't came out yet. I had only seen a clip of Troy's from Canada. Troy's Canadian. So the clip I had seen was like Canada's version of America's Got Talent. And it wasn't the clip where he actually performed. Someone had showed me a behind the scenes clip of like in the back room of him like scaring the producers of the show, right? You know, and I saw that clip and I was like, oh man, this guy's incredible. Like I didn't think it was real, you know what I mean? And so he hadn't really had anything else come out at that time. And so when we got him, it was a true joy, because he just, not only can he do those amazing things as far as contorting goes, but I mean, he's just an awesome, really, really nice person. And like, he'll give you as many takes as you want. He'll sit in the makeup chair as long as you want. And, you know, the Spectral Motion, the team that did his prosthetics, they're incredible. They do all the Guillermo del Toro's movies, and they spent so much time with Troy and getting kind of the exact look that I wanted, which is very rare in independent filmmaking. You usually have to make a lot of compromises, and with this one I didn't have to compromise with Troy or the prosthetics. As far as the rest of the cast goes, the 4 original boys, they were kind of the 4 kids that went missing back in 2010 when we cast them. That was more of like an American Idol search. We were doing like an open casting call. We wanted complete unknowns, and there was a lot of chemistry tests. And they were great because we just hung out all the time and always had a camera filming with those guys no matter where we went. We have probably 10,000 hours worth of footage of just those kids hanging out as friends. And then the 4 newer cast members, the paranormal investigators, Dylan, Robert, Valentina, and Rebecca, they were all either friends or friends of friends, people that I knew I could trust to do the role, because we didn't have a lot of time to audition or rehearse. And so I had to get some people that, had familiar faces, good looking, and like also I could just trust. I didn't have to worry about like showing up on set and being like, oh man, I really got to work with this actor or this actor. It was really nice. So, and Doug
Excellent.
Tate as well. Doug Tate as well. The other actor plays the creature. Doug, I've known for a very long time. Doug actually shot his stuff very early on, and Doug is incredible. If anybody doesn't know who Doug is, but Doug does a lot of the Michael Myers, Freddy stuff. He's stunt actor and just a generally good actor in general, and a great person. So yeah, Doug was awesome as well.
He sure is. Funny you mentioned him. We actually just interviewed him last week for the show. So
yeah, he's such a nice guy, right?
Awesome guy. Yeah, he's actually coming up. I live in Salem. He's actually going to be doing an event up here, a signing in a couple weeks. So we're excited to meet him and see him. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. All right. So I ask this question to every writer/director that comes on the show. So as a writer-director, is there one, I guess, you lean towards more or prefer over the other? Or do they sort of just kind of meld together?
That's why I tell everybody, I came out to LA in like 99, 2000, and I just had a couple scripts. And so I considered myself a writer. I didn't know what it would take to become a director. I had worked on some big movies as a production assistant, and I spent my entire teen years working at video stores. So my film school was just all videos, like multiple years of video stores and working on some sets. And so when I came out here, once I got to direct my first thing, I wanted to lean more on directing. But what I started to notice more is that, the way this industry has shifted, it's kind of like you have to be able to do a lot of things. You're going to see, like, for instance, me on this, like, I'm a producer, I'm the editor. Like, there's so many things that I had to do on this. And that's just a sign of the times. I think the era of the true writer director died in the late 90s when the Tarantinos, the Spike Lees, the Robert Rodriguez's, Steven Soderberghs, when all those guys were born, Christopher Nolan's, that was the true writer director. I think now it's like, we're just trying to make movies any way we can. So I would lean as I like to tell stories, and like, especially with this new one I just finished, like, I'm very proud of the script because it's extremely original and very different, and it's a slow burn. But directing it, now cutting it, it's like, I feel like I'm definitely more of a director than a writer over the years. And like, as it goes on, like even in November, I'm directing a picture that I did not write. It'll be the first one I've ever done. And I think I'm looking more forward to things like that in the future.
Excellent. So I think more could definitely be explored in this Malibu Horror Story universe, especially with the backstory and lore that is, revealed throughout the movie. So I got to ask, do you have any plans to make a sequel? Will there be another 10-year journey for Malibu Horror Story Part 2?
I don't think for me personally, meaning like, I don't like, I would, it's open-ended, I don't think that's a spoiler, but it's open-ended, as most horror films are nowadays. So I don't think that's a spoiler, but yeah, I left it open-ended because, I mean, actually it wasn't on purpose. That was just the way it happened. But I would, if we do well in the theaters and this thing does, like, become like an actual movie that a lot of people go see, I wouldn't mind for it to become a sequel, but I'd rather probably give a younger, an up and coming filmmaker a shot at doing a sequel like that. I don't think I personally will do it. I would chime in on the script, maybe be a producer on it, but I don't know if I could take on another 10 years of directing a movie like that.
Yeah. So, I think that's about it, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone, make sure go check out Malibu Horror Story. It hits theaters on October 20th. Definitely go and support independent horror. Before we let you go, Scott, is there anything else you got coming up that you like to promote, or where the listeners can find you?
Just, right now it's just, go see Malibu Horror Story October 20th in theaters. If it's not, go to MalibuHorrorStoryTickets.com, punch in your zip code. If you don't see it, there's a request form. You can request it. We're kind of doing that paranormal thing where you can kind of demand it to come to your city. If enough people do it, it'll come to your city. And and MalibuHorrorStory.com, and on Instagram at Malibu Horror Story Movie. Just hopefully everybody goes and sees it, because that's what it's all about with independent horror. Like, these theatrical runs happen for a reason, because, we're getting a look at, like, hey, can indie films, hold ground at the theaters? You know what I mean? And it's been studio dominated, which is fine, but it would be great if people could support and come out and see it in theaters.
Absolutely. And everyone, please do. Once again, October 20th in theaters. Don't miss it. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.